pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we're looking for additions and deletions to the agenda, and Matt has supplied us with three here, right? 1, 2, 3. So are there any other, and I think everybody's got a copy of this, so great. Okay. Any other additions or deletions to the agenda, or objections thereof? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Support.
Motion support. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we have an agenda. Roll has been taken. All right, we're kind of on order here, I guess. Next up is request for purchase.
Approval of minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, approval of the minutes. Yes, I'm skipping over one. So we'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the July 9, 2019 regular meeting.
So moved. Support.
I have a motion support. Are there any comments or questions on those minutes? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Thank you for catching that for me. Now, request for purchase. Consideration of request for the purchase in the amount of $13,835.40 to Mission Communications, LLC, for the 3-year alarm system contract for the wastewater plant and lift stations. Arcata and Pine River Townships will share in the cost of this alarm contract in regards to their lift stations.
Support.
I have motion and support. And Dave, since you're here, I did have a couple questions you might want to share with everybody. The one lift station 8 was substantially higher. I forget the numbers now. Most of them were like $850, and this one was $1,200 or something. And so the cost on that one was more because, I'll let you explain it.
The reasons for that lift station, minute-by-minute updates on that one, real-time updates on that lift station. We do that because by the time that alarm's out, if there is a problem, it may become too late because there's a substantial amount of homes in that lift station district. So we want to monitor where the levels are on that. So if there is any kind of increase in flow there that the pumps are dealing with, we can get out there and deal with it before it does become a problem. That's the only lift station that we have that's that sensitive for that type of information. Number 2 is for the I&I concerns, we can also monitor real time on the amount of rainfall or moisture that we have, and as far as any increases minute by minute on where the extra flow is coming from. So we can look at weather updates with it.
And you also mentioned we don't have a generator at that location.
Yes, we do have a
We do
generator
have
at
one,
that lift
okay.
station. Yes, but what that alarm tells us if there's any kind of issues with electricity or anything like that too, or if there's a pump failure or anything like that, we can monitor flow and what the rate is in case the pumps for whatever reason aren't keeping up. So, yes, that does have a generator backup that's on site.
All right. I'm sorry I misunderstood.
No,
I thought when you were talking before you said it did not. So
No, it does.
good to know it does. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, I forget, did we get a motion on that one? We did a motion and support. Okay, so any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And motion is carried. Moving on to resolutions. First up, we have consideration of adopting a resolution authoring the mayor and myself to cast votes for the Michigan Municipal League Workers' Compensation Fund Trustees election. 3 trustees have agreed to seek election for three 4-year terms beginning October 1st, 2019. It's the candidates are Devin Olson, who is the manager of the city of Munising, Adam Smith, the mayor of Grand Ledge, and David Tasova, I believe, mayor of the city of Hastings. So we'll entertain that motion if you have.
So moved.
Okay.
Support.
Motion support. Are there any comments or questions? Anybody want to challenge him?
Well, so does someone know? So, I mean, who? I I'm imagining they're the only three that.
They are the only two
That's why
candidates on the ballot, so.
Great.
Is this the,
You're not entrusting me with a great deal of power.
is this the glamour part of your job?
This is the glamour portion of the position, yes, there's no question.
Since they had to agree.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That was the first clue.
Yeah, I don't think there was a tremendous stampede for these positions.
Okay.
Had their arms twisted and said, okay.
All right, so we had a motion support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. Moving down to number 2, we have consideration of a resolution to authorize Mayor Mapes to execute the Gratiot Community Foundation grant agreement as the Build Dream Wright Park Committee's fiduciary agent in the amount of $2,500.
Move approval.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any comments or questions? This is funds left over from the village. is
They're
that-
doing to do some other things. There's looking at some of the features that will still be put on there, the donor plaque, and some of the other things to finish it off.
Okay.
This helps the offsets.
Offsets some of the costs.
It's a new grant.
Yeah.
Bike rack and stuff.
Perfect. It is looking much, much better now that we've got the asphalt around it. And
And it's not going to be seated until we get to the fall, so everybody knows that, because it would be kind of senseless to do it right now. So
you could waste money on
Yes,
seed. There's no
we're gonna
question
wait until
about
the
that.
fall, but it's nice.
Although it's raining
The area looks
today.
great. Yeah. It's because it's not organized. So.
All right. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion is carried. Number 3, to consider a resolution to discharge a property rehabilitation lien dated December 7th, 1988 for 132 Valley Street. The rehabilitation lien was written as a forgivable loan, after the term of 48 months and had yet to be discharged. So we're a little lacking in our paperwork. Catch up here. Okay.
When it goes through title search, it takes out.
And we also have a copy of that agreement, so we have a motion, we have support, and we have support. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion has carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to ordinances. Consider a resolution introducing an ordinance to amend Chapter 50 of the ordinances of the City of Alma by the addition of Division 6 to authorize the payment of an annual service charge in lieu of taxes for Scottish Pines Apartments, residential units serving low-income or moderate-income persons in accordance with the State Housing Development Authority Act 346 of the Public Acts of Michigan of 1966. That's a mouthful. Okay, did we have, I guess we'll entertain a motion first. Anybody so inclined?
So moved.
Support.
Have a motion and support. Okay, do you want to have some background?
Yes, please. I read it over and over and I'm like,
Yep, a pilot payment in lieu of taxes. This is the first one we're going to be looking at in terms of it's a rehab. It's not a very new construction. This is a tax credit program that MSHDA has. They only give out a handful of them throughout the state. This is part of their application process. This gives them 5 points on their application. It's just kind of like what we do with the Oprahs and things like that. The community needs to provide some kind of assistance with what we're doing here, that we believe in the project and what they're doing. Basically, if we do pass this to the next meeting, Shana will be here to give a presentation and talk more in depth about it, and then we'll talk from our standpoint too of the city. But they'll turn this application in, and they may not get it. So this would not go into effect unless they do get the tax credit awarded to them. It's very competitive, and so there's no guarantee that they could get this. But it will be rehabbing Scottish Pines, which is across from the middle school, high school, right there. It's senior housing, low and moderate income, very low and moderate income. And the Shane will talk next time about what those income levels are, so people get a better understanding. When we say low income, it's low income. New roofing, siding, interiors will be redone, those sorts of things. So that's what this is really about, and for their investment and renting to these income levels, this is not a reward, but consideration for that investment.
Eric, this isn't a case where DeShano's a new owner or anything of this property.
They just bought this property.
So they're looking to rehab it
Yes,
after they bought
about 2 years ago they purchased it, give or take. Yep.
had said so they gave the last 2 years' data. They said they averaged like 10% of what their rental income is, and that's basically what they're proposing for their pilot. Kathy, do you have any comments on that? Is that fair and appropriate? Is that what we see across the state?
Yeah,
Or?
that is what we see, and they also have countryside apartments. So it's along the same lines of what they've already done. They've done some in St. Louis, the Michigan Avenue, Green Place apartments, and they just built a new senior building across from Frosty Cone in the city of St. Louis. So, and those percentages are normal. I mean, we met with Heather, and DeChano wants to be fair with us in lieu of taxes. In the point system, it's helping them get the grant so they can rehab.
So this is less about us giving them a tax break as it is about them scoring points on their application. Does that seem fair? If they're going to pay out the same taxes
It's
either way?
both. It's both.
Okay.
It is both. Because the investment obviously would
Raise the value.
Raise the value. And because of that, and renting to those income levels, this is the consideration we're giving for that investment.
It makes it more financially viable.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And they're asking for 20 years instead of the full 35 years. So like Kathy said about being fair with the community, they're not asking for the maximum amount of years. They're just
But
asking.
their application only asks for 15 or greater. Is that correct?
I believe it said
Just for
20,
the
didn't it,
points?
Sheila?
I thought I read 15 in there.
I thought it was 20. I thought it was 20, but I could be
Well,
wrong.
I think, no,
For their points.
yeah, the state is requiring that we pass this as 15 or greater in order for them to
In
get
order for them to get the points.
Yeah.
But for them, they're saying to make economic feasibility, they want 20.
Yes, correct.
Is that a better understanding?
Yes.
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay. Any more
So how
questions?
much are we losing in taxes then? Will we lose, or?
So that hasn't all been figured out yet. We're going to wait till Heather will be here at the next meeting, and she'll do a presentation.
And it really depends on the final plans on how much they invest too, I think, right? Is that, I mean, you'd be losing probably, conceivably, I think, and forgive me if I'm wrong, Kathy, you can correct me, if they invest $1 million versus $500,000, if they invest more, you'll actually be losing a lot more in taxes, but you'll have a better product in the community for these folks that are living there. Does that seem fair? Is that a decent understanding?
Right, yes. The pilot seems to work, because like the Oprahs and the IFTs, and that's 50% reduction. So I think that in lieu of taxes for the fee seems to be more favorable for the city than some of the other abatements out there.
And I forget what the details of it were, but when we talked about this before, when we put some of these ordinances in place, we did some things I think that were more favorable than what could have taken place, but I forget all the details now. It's been several years.
And once that's all presented, that could be something, your decision when you review what Heather presents.
Again, this is just the introduction.
Right. Yeah, we're not actually granting anything at this point, so. Okay, any more questions? Or are there any, I guess, if anybody, especially our newer members, if you want more education, speak up and we'll see if we can find more stuff for you.
Well, when we speak with Heather, we'll ask her to detail some stuff, those questions there, so that she can give an example.
Yeah, because none of us are well versed in this. Even those of us that went through the ordinances and things before, you just don't. I at least don't remember that details that fully. So, okay.
It would be interesting to know what we were getting before from the people that owned it prior.
Oh, I
We've
get
got that.
That's where.
Yeah, that's.
How much is that?
Yeah, I can provide all of that to you.
According to her, I think it was her numbers we saw. According to her, it was roughly the 10% that she's proposing to give us. So basically, we'll be getting what we've always gotten. We just won't collect on the new investment portion. It's not new construction; it's just new investment in the old building. So.
And then she'll bring information on the rents they charge for these folks, and they're really good deals. And obviously, these people don't make enough to pay.
Yeah, they have to be income qualified. All these people.
And they, I mean, when you see the rents, you're like, well, no wonder you need the some kind of incentive or help to do it.
And even after the investment, you're not going to look at them and say, these are luxury apartments by
No.
any stretch of the imagination.
And then are they like the other things with the rent control or the lower rent, where there's a certain number of years that they have to?
No, these are like a Section 8 housing situation where they're always furloughing.
Okay, always, so it won't be after, if
No,
the first
no.
batch moves out.
Yeah,
then-
they're not going to market rate after.
No, they will not go to market rate.
That's great.
Scottish Pines is a limited disability housing authority, so they're actually serving a community with special needs. And I can say I inspect that property annually, and since GLD has taken that property over, not that it was bad by any means before, but they've already made some positive improvements. But the property is dated.
Yes.
So who pays the difference of rent? The state?
It's a federal program, isn't it?
It's subsidized from either federal government.
Or state, or?
Yeah.
Combination thereof, probably.
Yeah, I don't know for sure what the details are on that, Larry. That's one thing we can ask her to.
Not just
kind of-
us.
Yeah, no. What we're providing is the break in the taxes that is necessarily coming directly out of our pocket. So that is our support of this being rehabbed.
We just collect less.
Yeah, we're just collecting less, yes, on the improvement.
Okay.
But we'll get that around we'll have her talk about that next time.
No, that's great discussion, and I need the refresher, and I'm sure others do as well. So,
Eric, this is the place where the fire was?
Yes, there was a fire, yes. Yep.
okay. So with that, we have a motion and support, I believe. So all those in favor? Opposed, same sign. The motion has been introduced. Thank you. Moving down to reports, we have one from Legacy Assessing Services. The report as of July 15th, 2019. I guess we'll entertain a motion to receive the report first.
So moved.
We have motion support. Comments or questions? Or Kathy, do you want to just give a brief overview, or would that be appropriate?
Yeah, well, I don't have the letter actually in front of me.
Oh.
Legacy, I forwarded it on.
Happy to put you on the spot here.
No, it's fine. But no,
Kathy, could you stand up?
Sure, the reappraisal, it's going well, as you can see in her letter. They've had wonderful responses from all the residents. They're working on the commercial industrial right now, so they're measuring, I think they were working on the downtown. Loudon.
900.
900.
at this point.
Perfect.
Matt does have a copy of the letter.
That's going to be a quiz.
I didn't know I'd be quizzed.
Yeah, 900 at this
so,
point.
yeah,
Going
but
really well.
no, it's going well. They're doing very detailed, on the legal descriptions, make sure all the land's accounted for. So we do have some legal description corrections to work on. So it's creating a little bit of work, but things are getting cleaned up. I hate to use that word cleaned up, but it's getting where it's accurate. So
Perfect.
yeah. Yep.
So it sounds like it's going as expected,
Yes, it is.
and we're improving our database along the way. So,
Yes.
and so, as we've talked about so many times, it'll keep us out of trouble in the future, I think. So, thank you, Kathy, and I apologize for putting you on the spot
Oh,
there
that's okay.
with that one. Okay, anybody else have comments or questions? Hearing none, those in favor? Opposed, same sign. Report has been received. Next, move to K. Again, in addition to the agenda, item 1 is consideration of a resolution appointing Catherine Phillips as the Finance Director / City Treasurer for the City of Alma effective August 5, 2019.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any comments, questions? Matt, you want to fill us in a little bit?
As I kind of went through with the process, we ended up with 21 applicants for the position. We went through some different process of qualifying the candidates, down to 6 phone interviews. Of those 6 phone interviews, we went to 3 for full interviews within our department head hiring policy. If you remember, the department head hiring policy consists of both a community group, of which the finance committee was a portion of this year on this hire, and then the administrative team from the city. At that point in time, it really came down to 2 candidates there. The nice thing was we had a really consistent look between the different groups that had done the interviews. And then on Monday afternoon, myself and City Clerk Jill Letourneau and then Denise Baker from ProNexus conducted the final interview with the last two candidates. And in the end, then I was able to make an offer to Ms. Phillips for the job. She comes to us from some time in Muskegon Heights. She has both a bachelor's and master's degree in accounting and finance. Very enthusiastic, I think, to make some plans with the city. So I look very much forward to her being a part of our team going forward.
Okay, thank you. As you know, I had the pleasure of being on the Finance Committee and sitting in on the interviews, and I just want to say I was thrilled that we had such good applications come in. 21, I think, is a great number for the position here. Came down to the last couple of candidates. It was a tough call. There's no question about that. Some very highly qualified people. I'm sure the scoring was close, and hopefully everything came down the way we wanted it to, and we'll have the best decision here. So I'm confident that she has some great skills, as some of the other candidates did as well. But congratulations to her on being selected. So.
Yeah, she had a wide range of things. Besides those degrees, she had assessing and,
A lot of certifications and
just
Financial planning.
very much
Just
about
stuff,
planning
yeah.
and analysis, I think, was one of the things that really was.
And she seemed real eager to learn a lot. She has knowledge, but she also seemed like someone who was interested in learning new things, which I always think is a good thing when you have somebody taking over a position that intense.
I think the interesting feedback, too, from the candidates that were involved, I think that was what I thought was really nice to see was our process. Very complimentary of our process of how we went about getting to where we are. It's a lot for them to go through to get there, seeing different people, different types of interviews, different things. And
It was draining being an interviewer, quite frankly.
But again, thank you to all those that participated. Staff doesn't have to. It's a voluntary thing, and so it's nice to see the staff wanted to be involved in this and to be a part of it. So, no, seriously, they volunteered to do it.
You remember they work for you, right?
But you never want somebody in that part of the process that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
That wouldn't help the process.
And I'm sure they all want to be part of the
It was
process
good.
too,
It was very good.
this is going to impact every one of them on a daily basis. So
This one touches us all.
Do we have any indication of the start time?
Hoping for August 5th. August 5th.
That's pretty quick.
And we're all surprised that a former police officer had a process in place.
I will say, one of the first things I did when I started, I think it's paid dividends to this point of
I
how
think
we
so,
now
too. And it
go
was a
about
good
this.
process.
It is, so.
Okay. So I think we hit the motion and support. Any additional comments or questions? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. We have a new person, so great. New business. Just, did you want to give any thoughts on the water department? On camera here, or do you want something later?
Sure. I'll do it during the. I'll wrap that.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we'll move to appropriations then. Anybody care to pay the bills?
Support.
I think we had a motion of support.
Kind of like a ghost.
Yeah, all right. Here, I'm trying to make it longer. So. Okay, we had a motion and support. Any comments or questions?
I have a question. Is the New York Times, is that like a newspaper subscription or?
Yes.
Is that important? Oh, for the library?
For library.
For the library.
And I think we can all read that online from that prescription, subscription, can't we?
Yeah.
Which I recommend everybody read their newspapers because it's wonderful and very important to our democracy to read your newspapers. Okay, so with that said, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The bills have been paid. Commissioner comments. Roxanne, would you like to go first tonight?
I have anything to say, surprisingly.
Well, we will move on now.
Quick, before I change my mind.
Mr. Mott from Northwood, or from the right house? Right mansion, yes.
Right. My first home.
Your first, yes, your very first.
Just remember this Saturday, the volunteering at the park. Anybody that can come out and paint. You don't have to reach too high. But because just to preserve what we already have. Yes, sir. And it's 8 o'clock.
8 a.m. Yeah.
8 a.m.
Yep.
So middle of the day. Right, Roxanne? Okay, Roger.
Nothing that I can think of.
Nothing come up at Strand?
Yeah, the summer youth workshop.
I'm sorry.
Your voice changed.
I'm sorry. I could be in trouble for that. Yeah, summer youth workshop.
Me too.
They are doing Shrek Junior. It's kind of pretty much a full musical. It's a little bit more ambitious than what they have looked at in the past, which is kind of a conglomeration of kids' plays or something. This is the real thing. And it's well underway. 2 weekends and 6 performances.
Second, third, and fourth, and
Yep. Third, fourth, and fifth, and 11, 12, whatever it is. About 50 kids, I think, participating in it.
Wow.
And yeah, it's going to be good. It always is.
It always is,
It always
absolutely.
is.
Yeah. Certainly, hats off to the volunteers that are willing to work with 50 kids. They're brave folks. All right, Audra.
I just would like to acknowledge and thank the Community Foundation for the grant for the Wright Park. It's another great investment into that park, and it helps kind of wrap everything all up. So thank you to them.
Well said. Michelle.
I'd just like to thank everybody that came out for Rural Urban Day. We count was 853 people came through and had a steak dinner. It was a little bit toasty on Thursday. 100% humidity at 100 degrees. It was great. But we had a successful year, so we will go on to number 45 next year. July 17th, 2020. Larry, be there to cut watermelon. I forgot to tell Larry about watermelon.
Nothing bad.
Nothing good?
No, I'm fine.
Attorney.
Just a reminder that the second community chat will take place tomorrow night at 5:30 at King Park. King Park's off Michigan Avenue. You can park off Grove, parking lot down there. We'd like to see some folks there. As much as we enjoy each other's company, it'd be nice to have some other people there to chat with. The other thing I had acknowledged during the work session, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for reminding me, received a really nice letter about the water department. Had noticed someone's bill was out of whack. Went and talked to the person and were able to determine that there was a leak. But the real big part of it in talking to the homeowner on Slater Street was that employee Dan Tessman really kind of went over and above. This was not just a little bit of water, but a lot of water in a crawl space that Dan got right down, got into to get to the leak. So appreciate them taking that. It really kind of hits our core values of Triple and really giving some respect. And last, I think I'd like to give a little shout out to I think most of us probably know by now, but Eric Huff, who's been the athletic director here in the Alma Public Schools for quite some time now, and he's going to be leaving Alma Public Schools and heading over to St. Louis as a principal. It's a loss for us from our AD's position. He's done a tremendous job that way, but as I've heard other people say, our loss is their gain, that's for sure, but it'll still be a big part of our community.
He's not moving that far away, so that's the upside of this.
He'll still live here.
I don't think he's planning to move.
No, he'll still live here.
No. But he has done a great job and been an asset, not just at the schools, but well beyond. You're absolutely right there. So. Okay, and I don't have anything further to add, so with that, we'll open up to the public. If you'd like to address the commission, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and share your thoughts with us, please.
Well, I have a couple of things that I would like to address. I live at 517 Michigan Avenue, St. Louis. Over on Grafton, 324 Grafton, and I've talked to one of the city workers about it. They've got a couple vehicles that are kind of smashed up. Maybe you guys can look into that. And then I don't know what the ordinance is about big swimming pools. There's one down here across from the Alma Post Office that the pool is, right out there in front. And I'm just kind of concerned about if a small child goes in the pool, if they're going to drown or try to make it's safe or what you guys can do about that. But I feel that, Elma is a great place to live. And I just want everybody safe. And I kind of, my life between St. Louis and Elma has been pretty good to me. Last year was pretty rough, but I had a lot of support, and I thank everybody. But maybe, another thing, over there at, what's that park? Riverside Park, on this side by the fence, there's some teenagers going over the fence, and on the other side of the fence by the water, there's quite a few teenagers that could fall off the rocks, and I'm concerned about their safety. I've seen quite a few kids out there. I just want them to be safe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And it's my understanding that staff is already on top of several of those issues, is that correct? Okay, thank you. Who would like to be next? Okay, seeing none, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Support. Motion support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Everybody have a great evening.